Today, we are going to talk about 10 tips to grow in your relationship with God. 10 things that I've seen in my own life, in my own experience, that will help us keep tabs on our spiritual growth. And these are simple things, but if you go through them, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So this is a talk I gave to high schoolers, and I realized this does not just apply to high schoolers. It applies to everybody. It applies to me. It applies to you. It applies to parents teaching their kids. So these are cool things that I think will help us and help us to challenge ourselves to actually grow in our relationship with the Lord. So the first one is have a spiritual friend. Have a spiritual friend. We have a lot of friends. We live in a very social world, and we want to have friends. Some people have a few, some people have a lot. But in your friend groups, in that community in which you belong, is there anyone that you're close to that reminds you of the high standard of holiness? Is there someone that inspires you to be holy? Someone that you can go to and talk to about God and renew your faith? Sometimes it's a spiritual director, sometimes it's your spouse, sometimes it's a best friend. And sometimes I've seen it, sometimes it's even your kids. It's someone in your life that you were close to that you can spend time with and be inspired to seek for holiness. Find that holy friend. And sometimes you are that holy friend for someone else. If you don't have one, look for one because we cannot walk on this journey of holiness alone. Number two, have a spiritual recording device. Have something, it could be a journal, it could be your phone, but something where you can take note of your spiritual experiences. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people go and live their faith by going to mass and they go home and that's it. They pray, but when we have something where we can jot down our spiritual experiences like a journal, a lot of you probably have journals. It forces us to process. It forces us to etch in a very tangible way those spiritual experiences that we can look back on and read and just recognize how far we've gone or how much we've done and how this journey has been. 3, challenge yourself to do the most spiritual activity that you can do each day. Challenge yourself to seek what is the most spiritual thing, or to even discern every single day when you plan out your day to think, if in everything that I have to do today, what could possibly be the most spiritual thing that I can do or plug into or add to my schedule? Sometimes it's just a few minutes of prayer because of our life, right? Our life's busy. Sometimes I can actually go to daily mass. Sometimes I can go to church, go to the adoration chapel. Sometimes it's praying the rosary as a family. But what is the most spiritual thing that I can do that is possible based on my circumstances? And do it and commit to it. And every day suddenly takes this jump from just being the humdrum daily routine to something where I actually was able to make that effort to sanctify my day. Sanctify your day. Number 5, challenge yourself to occasionally fast from mundane and worldly activities that you tend to do. It's just a spirit of abnegation. It's a spirit of sacrifice. It's finding those little things I can abstain from that are legitimate, but it opens and forms my heart to actually seek something greater than what I desire. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's checking my phone less. Maybe I can end the day not going straight into the TV or whatever it is I do that could hint at some selfishness, but spend more time with my kids, with my spouse, or kids, spend more time with my parents. Maybe it's less technology and read a book, or I don't know. What is it that I tend to do that is worldly and abstain from that a little bit? Next, avoid occasions of sin, but even more, create occasions of grace. This is number 6. Sometimes we live in the world, we live in this culture, where Catholic culture, where we're avoiding sin. And that's great. But I have this theory that if we flip the coin, instead of running away from sin, we build structures where grace is fostered. So it's both and, right? If I seek for grace throughout my day through prayer, through good relationships, it kind of summarizes everything we just spoke about prior. It's sanctifying my day. It's placing myself in circumstances and situations and occasions where I can grow in my holiness. And probably sometimes it's just doing what I have to do. It's doing what God wants me to do. Next, create your God space. Number 7, create your God space. A physical space where you know if I go there, I encounter God. As a priest, I have my chapel, I have my little prayer corner in my room. But you, where in your home, where in the places where you go every single day as part of your routine that you can make your God space. It could be a corner in your house. It could be the church that you can drop by on the way home. Where's that place that you can say that's where God is most present to my heart, both mentally and spiritually, psychologically, emotionally? Like, where is that God space? Next, create and defend your God time. Similar to finding your most spiritual activity to do each day, is there a time during my day where I can say this is for God? The morning, noon, night, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What is the moment during the day where I can say, okay, this I reserve for God. This is where I'm going to put my phone away and I'm going to pray. I'm going to close my eyes for a few minutes and unite myself to God. Number 9, have a daily Mary moment. A day without Mary is a day that is drab and 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 just missing something. Mary, we know Mary is not God, but Mary brings us to God. Mary, the mother of God, accompanies us on this journey towards heaven. She's the greatest advocate. She's the greatest intercessor. She is our heavenly mother. And so, how can we not each day have a moment with her? Whether it's just a Hail Mary moment, or a decade of the rosary, or a rosary, or just having an image of her in my house where I can stop and look at her and talk to her and ask her to help us become holy. Ask her to ask God for grace and strength for our souls. And last, never end the day without having done something charitable for someone else. Never end the day without consciously and intentionally loving someone. And loving someone not because you have to, loving someone not because it was your duty, but loving someone where you went out of your way to do something for someone else, even if it's something small. In a sense, it's also kind of like that sacrifice. It's living that spirit of selflessness, of self-giving. And so, I mean, these are just 10. I'm sure there's like 1,000 more things we can do every single day, but these are 10 things. If you look back and you ask yourself, like, am I actually doing these things? And if you do, probably your day will be more meaningful. Your day will be better, and your life will start finding its way back or even further into this union with God, and God becomes more present, and this journey of holiness becomes more real. And so I challenge all of you to go over this list again and ask yourself, am I doing this? And can I really live out every day, every moment of my life, seeking these things and making sure that I am heading towards this journey of holiness, of sanctification of my life and of those around me?